I literally have like the highest ball flight in the world. So when it comes to wedges, that's not always very controllable. The ping-lined fours are specifically designed to provide lower launching shots but still keep really high spin. I think that could be perfect for me, so let's see just how well they perform. That was a solid ball flight, to be fair. Spun up so quick too. That is a very nice ball flight. Just feels really controlled. I'm never gonna hit shots low. You know, with the kind of launch angles and the stuff I'm putting on the ball, I'm not gonna suddenly start hitting bullets. That's unrealistic. But I like the way that's really solid. You can feel kind of like the speed and the trajectory are really well matched. It doesn't feel like in kind of windy conditions it's gonna get moved around too much. Pretty consistent so far. It's quite interesting because I didn't feel like I struck that perfect, but the distance control's right up there. You can see it's come out of the middle, but it was so spinny. Like the spin was super high there. I mean, ping are known for their consistency, and I think it's being shown here because most of those shots finished within 6 foot of each other. It's just such a stable ball flight. Good on full shots. How good is the spin on half shots? It's quite interesting. They've got slightly different groove styles on the different wedges to try and help with the conditions you're going to have using those clubs. If you think about it, you're typically going to hit a much more half and 3/4 shot with your highest lofted wedges, so it doesn't make sense for them to have the same grooves as ones you're going to be using to hit full shots because they're designed for completely different things. I've got a T grind on this, it feels lush. Oh, that was nice. That was a lot of spin on that. Literally spun and stopped dead on the second bounce. That was really nice. Very consistent trajectory, which is good. Like, obviously with your wedges, you want something that's gonna produce similar results so you can kind of get to grips with each time and get that consistency and make sure you know what's gonna happen when you hit each shot. So having something that kind of flights very consistently as well as spins consistently is gonna be really key. Just sounds so nice, doesn't it? Feels really nice and soft as well. I definitely like that. I prefer something that feels soft off the face when it comes to short game. Should mention this has quite a different shaping of the ball. It's very pear-shaped, like quite round. I really like it. It's like small but without being intimidating. It just sounds so crisp. I've got 2 different wedge grinds here. A T, which I'm really excited about because it's like super low bounce, really nicely grinded down on kind of the back and the leading edge so it sits flush. So that's going to be really good for kind of opening the face up and manipulating it. You can see if I literally twist the face all the way open there, the leading edge is barely off the ground at all. Madness. This one I've got an S. This is a bit more standard. I have more bounce on this, so this one is actually a 12 compared to a 6 in this. But it's also, you can see, it's not kind of ground down as much at the back and like on the toe and the heel. So it's not going to be quite as easy to hit a variety of shots with in terms of kind of opening the face up. But I would use these 2 clubs for different things, so that's why I've got different grinds in them. So first let's start with the S. This is just what I would use for kind of stock shots or standard shots. It's really where I'm just going to leave kind of the face square, maybe shut it down a little bit, but not do too much with it and just play with that bounce off the sole. Thought I was going to hold that. Bit pacey, but nice strike. This is perfect for just kind of that easy shot where you just want something simple, kind of you chip and run or 50-50 where you're flying it half the way and letting it release out. I mean, I thinned that. but it's gone to like 3 foot. I really like the way this performs for this kind of shot. I also like how soft it is off the face. It just feels like you can really control the distance and the speed really well. Now let's see how this differs with the T. It's going to be very different. Now people always think like you need low bounce to be able to manipulate the face. It's not necessarily about the bounce and more about the grind. Now it's worth noting with this, less bounce does tend to be less forgiving. So you're not going to kind of get that help in terms of strike. You're going to have to hit it a bit more perfectly. Obviously there's going to be more height on this because I've got more loft. See how I didn't strike that perfect and it kind of bounced off the floor a little bit and released out? That's what you're going to get if you don't clip it quite right. So nice and like spinny and crisp when you get it good though. Now the big advantage for this really is if you're wanting to manipulate the face. This isn't really a shot where I need loft because there's nothing in front of me, but let's kind of just pretend it is. I love hitting this kind of shot. Yeah, it's a bit dangerous, but sometimes you need it. The big thing I like about this is just how flush it sits to the ground, so it doesn't feel like that leading edge is gonna make me thin it. Oh. Look how nippy you can get that if you want to. Maybe we should try it on like a more short-sided shot somewhere, like over the back here. It's kind of the perfect example of where I'd use this. You're short-sided yourself, you've got kind of this hill to go over, and then I'm going downhill to the pin and not an excessive amount of green. So you need that height on the shot, and you also need to be able to kind of stop it pretty quickly, which obviously requires me to open the face up, so this grind's going to help me do that more. Slightly heavy, not bad. I mean, obviously I've hit them way too hard, but it's interacting with the grass really nicely. Nice. Just feels really easy to open up, and like I don't have to worry about where the contact's going to be. Now obviously you're not going to get as much spin as you would do on a full shot with these, there's just not enough speed. But those last two, which I hit really nicely, have stopped pretty quickly and given me really good control. So can't ask for more than that. I'm just going to put this stick in to kind of emulate like a front pin position, and then we can hit like a mixture of short and long shots, use both the different grinds and see kind of how they're performing differently. Are we back here? Don't tell the greenkeepers. That's actually a really good tip for if you're practicing though, and there's not like a good length or the length you want to practice. Just pop an alignment stick in, and you can give yourself a variety of different shots even if there's only one pin on the green. Right, start with a T grind. Kind of wishing I'd put that further back now. Suddenly looking very close to me. Oh, nice. Nice, 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 nice. That was lovely. That was definitely a tad heavy. Pretty consistent though. I mean, those ones are fairly easy because I've literally only just got to splash it out. So how does it work when I need to put a bit more into it? Actually feels like it doesn't go as far. The strike, that's so nice though. You see how good that like gripped and spun on the green? Feels like you can be really aggressive with these, which I like. I think the big thing for me in bunkers is you can kind of deal with it if you catch it a bit heavy. It's not going to be a disaster, you know. as long as you get it out. But it's those like real shots that you hit clean, which are an issue. And having that grind where the front is a lot lower profile just means I don't feel like I'm going to catch one thin. Watch me thin this one now. All good. See how it feels different with this? Obviously we're going to have less loft on this, so I'm probably not going to play to that front pin just because it's going to be a bit pointless. Like, I would never use a 54 for such a short shot. It's interesting. Straight away, first one I've actually caught a little bit thin. Ah, that's better. Still really nice and controlled, but I do feel like I can just be more aggressive and kind of flip it under the ball with the other one, which I like. I mean, obviously there's more, like, less loft on this, so I have to be a bit more conservative in the strike as well, which is a factor. I just think ping wedges are so underrated. Like, they've performed so well here from such a wide variety of scenarios. Yeah, I think if you said wedges to someone, the first thing you think of wouldn't necessarily be ping. I think that needs to change though, because these are really high performers.